Welcome back to Self Revelations. It's your boy B-Dav.
And I am Juan Moreno.
Yo, man. Got the new shirts, you know what I'm saying? The Kobe things. I'm a warrior to the day I die, but, you know, my boy Pedro, he was making the sweaters and stuff like that, so had to cop a couple of them, you know what I'm saying?
Very nice, too.
Yeah, they're
I
comfortable.
love it. I love like the little things he has on here, though.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
And
they
it's
got
stitched in the
got it
back.
on the back. Yeah, it's live. I like it.
I think this is like the perfect thing. Like I feel like you want to do with like your like merch is like add like the little things.
Yeah.
Like the little things really do pop out instead of like a regular, cheap, pro club or something
I know.
like
Fucking raw sweater.
raw sweater. Yeah, raw sweater, terrible quality. Like this is dope. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. As soon as I seen it, I was like, yeah, I should have got three. I should have got three of them. I should have got three of them because like you said, like I like that little touch to it. You know what I mean? Like, so when we have our merch and stuff like that, I want something like that's different, not just like us slapping a logo on a T-shirt. You feel me? Like
and then selling it for like $35,
$40.
$40.
But no, how have you been? How's your mental? How's everything been this past week? You know.
No, everything's been good. I've definitely been, getting better. I'm good. I'm genuinely okay. I'm grateful. Like I really am grateful that I'm alive. That I get to, wake up in the morning, go to my job. I have a good environment there, like good supporting cast. My friends, my family, people are, healthy, and it could always be worse. Even though I don't look for that mentality, but you gotta like cherish these moments, and sometimes I forget to like be present. And so that's what I've been working on lately, is like being present in the moment, not judging myself, not judging my thoughts. If I don't do something today, thankfully I can, if, God lets me, I'll wake up tomorrow and I can do it tomorrow. Cause like, that's one thing I would do is like judge myself like so hard. Like I'm learning to like not judge other people, but not also listen to my thoughts sometimes. Everybody has like that judge in your head, like when you eat that, that McDonald's or that Wendy's, what is it? Or In-N-Out 4x4 or whatever. Like instead of eating that salad that you just had a great workout and now you're eating, you're feeding your body quote unquote garbage. Like you don't let that voice in your head affect you so much where it bothers you. Yeah. Like, you know what? Oh, you just wasted a workout. Or like
what is that called again? I've heard of that. Like it's like even when you do something bad, like say you like mess up and like say you're playing basketball and you mess up and that voice in the back of your head is like oh fuck, I fucked up again. Like,
yeah, there you
that
go.
That type of thing,
and that could really like mess up your confidence, and then you're not being comfortable with yourself and you start doubting yourself. And that's the thoughts that I've been working on too, is like not judging myself. Like it's okay if I don't do everything in the fucking 24 hours. Like my mind is like try to do as much as I can 24 hours, and sometimes if I don't fulfill it or if I don't have like the my appetite isn't full, then I feel like I didn't do enough. Like, I just wasted a day. And I'll get real deep down to myself. And people would have noticed, too. Like, I was telling you earlier before we started recording that I wouldn't, like, a lot of people are not showing their emotions, not being vulnerable, like, when they really need help or they need to express themselves. Because, like, if you're, like, in a dark hole or you're going through, like, depression or anxiety, you'll be surprised how great you feel when you talk about it openly. Now, you don't want to, be a negative Nancy, right? But you're still being optimistic and positive. For me, at least, right? I'm optimistic and positive even during times of challenging thoughts and stuff like that, or life, like health scare my family or for myself. So, it's for me, it's been, great to be open because it helps me. Like this podcast, like this whole time I've been doing this podcast, I've been going through my depression the whole time. But, at the same time, thankfully, I'm not like suicidal, I just judge myself like really hard. So I have to, sometimes, you have to be careful and like be easy on yourself. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. You can't do everything like in a day. You're not going to get rich. You're not going to get the 6-pack abs in 1 week. Like, it takes time. And that's what I have to remind myself is like be in the moment and just take your time.
Yes, most definitely. I appreciate you for sharing that with us, and that topic is not easy to talk about, and I think that's really, really big on, when you want to be present in the time that you're in right now. You start, you know, people can look at what they don't have rather than looking at what they do have, right? So, dang, I wish I had that car. I wish I was in this place. I wish I had my own house. Like, I'm at this age. I should be here. You know, at the end of the day, be thankful that you're alive, period. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other factors that can play into this. Like, you can be in prison for life for something you didn't do. You could be. Jeez. It's a whole lot that can you know, tie into that. So, you know, being present and being thankful, thankful. You know what I mean? Giving praise to the Most High, most definitely for all your successes, and even when things, like you said, even when things aren't going right, you know, still having that positive perspective, is very critical, bro. Very critical.
That's what I was just thinking about that right now too. It's like, you know, there's been times where like I've been depressed before, and it was not. Every time is different. So like, every time I get to like a depressed state, it feels so alien. Like you feel like disconnected from the world. Like you're in your head. Like you're literally just in your head. Like I could have like a conversation with somebody, with my lady, and I'll be thinking about everything that's going on in my head and not hearing a word she says. Like, that happens sometimes to me where, you know, she's talking to me or we're watching a movie, and I'll be watching a movie with a blank stare and just thinking my whole thoughts, and basically sometimes even like not being in the moment because I'm so stuck in my head and stuck in those thoughts. Man, you just said something that was very profound to me that, you know, a lot of people kind of go through. Was, man, I gotta think about it.
Was it a perspective? I was talking about this perspective.
You were just saying something in the words of, like what they see on. Oh yeah, I'm this age. I'm 32. I'm 35, and I still don't have a house. Or I'm 26, and so has a house, and so has their car paid, and I still don't got nothing. And that right there is like that social status. Like, and sometimes I'm very aware, very smart of those thoughts, and to make sure I remove myself from seeking validation from anybody, because you don't need, you know, any validation of who you are and what you're trying to do and the time it takes. But sometimes, like when you're stuck on social media, or you're with people that, you know, seek validation from materials and cars and money, like you also get caught up in that game. So that's one thing, like, you have to be very aware of. Like, I like that you said that, like, some people will be like 22, 26, a certain age, and think like, I should have this, I should have that, because of what you see on social media.
Facts. And it's that game of comparison, right? You know, for a while, like, I would kind of fall into that because I was like, you know, coming out of high school, like, dang, like, I don't have any scholarships. I don't have this. This person got a scholarship. This person got a scholarship. I got to go to a JC. I have to do this. I have to take the longer route. But at the end of the day, like, what is best for you? You know what I mean? Like, not everyone's going to have the same journey. I'm not going to have the same journey as, you know, someone who went to Alabama, right? Or someone who went to a prominent high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went the path I went because it was already written. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went on my path for a reason, and I'm thankful that I went on my path. If I could go back, I wouldn't change anything, right? Because I know me, and I know I grinded, and it made me to the player and the person that I am today. So it's like, without those experiences, then we aren't who we are. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go through that to be who you are today. Because even the slightest tweak, even if you could go back in time, you tweak something, then you don't learn that lesson that you learned from the wins or the loss. Right. And then who do you become?
You know what? What's one thing that sometimes in social media, you sometimes not accidentally, but you start comparing yourself. You're like, oh man, how come I'm not? Like, you ever have some of those, like, if you're scrolling on a post or somebody, whether it's like followers, likes, or people getting sponsored, it's not in a hating way, but in a comparison. You're like, how come I'm not? Have you ever been like, had that thought?
I mean, you know, with your thought, I try to control my thoughts, especially in the perspective of comparing to a heavy degree. But, you know, I do fall into it a little bit when I'm on social media. And this is whether if it's relationship wise or like career wise, right? I think about, you know, people like who, you know, are extremely successful at a really, really young age, right? And obviously, you know, looking at it like, dang, like they have a house, they have this, they're driving these cars, like, or even seeing somebody in the league, you know what I mean? And I'm like, dang, like, bro, like I should have been in the league right now. I should have been doing this. I should have been doing that. But you can't think about that because that throws you off of what you're doing right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to say that you're not going to meet your goals. It's just a different timing, right? People don't, you know, so a lot of people, when they start their business, a lot of times they fail. But on the second, third, fourth business, whatever, trial and error, they become successful. Some people don't get rich until their 40s, 50s. You know?
Right.
And that's a grind.
Yeah, I have to remind myself, like, oh, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like, I always have to, like, tell myself that with everything, because there is times where I compare myself to others or where I want to be, but then I have to remind myself to be in this moment and just build. Just do the little things day by day.
Brick by brick, bro.
Yeah, brick by brick and get to that point. You know, like right now, let's say, how do you measure success? Like, what is success to you? Like, what does the success mean?
In my honest opinion, success for me, I would say finding your passion, right? Whatever your passion may be. If it's, you know, in the realm of helping anyone or something that helping someone or solving a problem for others in some way, and you can pay your bills and take care of your family, you're successful in a way. You know, if you can do what you love and it does not feel like work, you can support yourself and build and have something to pass down for your kids, you are successful. You don't have to be a millionaire to be successful. You don't have to be, you know, filthy rich to be successful. It all comes with your passions, how you treat other people and stuff like that. But but yeah, I think that's what makes you successful.
God damn it.
Bro, so 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row.
They're gonna have to sponsor me with this ringtone.
By the way, face, I'm just like
by the way, it is
somebody doesn't know how to silence their phone, bro. Okay.
Bro, I put do not disturb.
Should have put it on vibrate.
Nah, just kidding.
No, but to get back on your topic, yeah, you know, I think the main thing that measures your success. Okay. The main thing that measures your success is like solving a problem. I forgot what book I was reading. It was talking about, you know, passions don't pay the bills, but if you can find a passion that can solve problems and can help people in a way, then you'll go far, right? I just think, like, in the same sense, you know, when it came to me picking out what I like to do with the fitness and stuff like that, I like to inspire people. I like to motivate people. And it just fell into that realm of motivating people to, you know, for physical fitness, right? And kind of in the realm on my page of, like, you know, mental health. So I feel like if you find something, like, even if it's, you know, doing hair or doing people's makeup or whatever, if it's your passion, if it's, like a service, if it's your passion and you can make money, support yourself and build, I think that's the epitome of success.
It's like contributing to society like then pays you back.
Yeah.
That's very true. I heard that too before. And that's kind of how I like envision myself. Like, that's how I feel about success in a way too. It's like, how do you, for me, success is like, I want to become like the light to other people, like to show them that, like, regardless of like what's going on or where you're currently at right now, like being able to help people, like build confidence, like make them realize that they can be, you know. Oh, why are you laughing now?
Bro, please.
What happened?
No, bro, just keep going.
The ringtone?
I just heard, like, I'm looking at you. all I hear is.
It's a great fucking ringtone, but oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I tried to hold it in so hard, bro. I tried to.
I feel like every time we record a new episode, I'm gonna just put like a new ringtone or something.
Oh my god, bro. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, I'm good.
Gotta breathe back.
All right.
Okay. Thank God we can edit this stuff out though, if we want.
Yeah,
to.
We're not editing nothing.
Oh, that's staying on here.
Yeah, it's staying on. Next time, vibrate your phone. But
God damn it.
But yeah, go ahead and continue what you were saying. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off and laugh at you.
I know, disrespectful.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, something I wanted to talk about was kind of like, we talked about it a little bit of episode 1 and 2. About getting ready to go to camp and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because the more this is something I'm just me personally, is just what I feel like. The more and more I'm training, the less jitters I'm feeling. Like, I just don't feel nervous. It's just like a calm before the storm, because I feel like with like the nervousness,
right,
I feel like that comes from not being prepared, So I just feel like right now, in the space that I am right now, and grinding and working out every day, it's just like, no, I have no doubt in my mind. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready as I ever been. And I'm just like itching to get back. And it's like, it's just crazy. It's like an extreme like tunnel vision that I have. Mm. I'm locked in, and I'm just like, I just wanted to start already. Mm-hmm. I got 23 days left, but it's just crazy because like the first time we talked about it, I don't know if you remember in like episode 1 where you talked about it, and I was saying like, oh yeah, like I have all these like jitters of like not nobody we're gonna play against, but it was just like the internal stuff, like right. Just thinking about it and stuff like that. And the other day I just like I like to like meditate in a way and just think about stuff I'm gonna do during the games and during the season, during camp. And I just feel like I don't know. I just feel this calm before the storm.
I think that physical activity too, like, does keep you calm. Like the raising of your heart rate, like you're working through like the workouts, like you're in the moment. You're sometimes even like visualizing, like you being on the field or you walking through the locker room. Like, does keep you like kind of relaxed too. Like, do you use like do you like manifest things or like visualize? I can't even pronounce
visualization.
Like, do you do that?
Yeah.
For the game?
I've been doing that for as long as I can remember without even realizing it. Like, I would just sit like, in my room and just think about, like, I would play out the whole game. Like, even if I'm watching film, I would play out what I would do in a certain play, or play out, okay, we have this coverage. This is how I would play it. This is how I would disguise it with the quarterback. And I'm just imagining, and I would even get hot I'll get hot or get chills or get goosebumps from just like thinking about it. Like, and I could just feel my heart rate, like beating hecka fast, or like making a big play and then getting hype and stuff like that. Like, I would visualize and think about that stuff. Like, in high school, going, every game we played, damn near, like, just before the game, the week leading up to the game, just thinking about it. Same thing with junior college. In junior college, I think it got more severe because it would get to the point to where, like, before the games, I would visualize what I was going to do, right?
Right.
And once I get on the field, it's just like I would do more than I even visualize. So would that kind of count as like manifesting it low key?
Yeah, you're like manifesting, but you are like, in your thoughts also having that image, the feeling, it's manifestation, and the same thing, like, because you are visualizing it actually happening, and then you feeling the emotions, like, oh man, that's one interesting thing I heard about too, is like some of the things that we do or some of the goals that we have are more than just reaching the goal, but the sensations that we feel.
Yeah.
Like, visualizing your mom, you making it to the league, you get that first check, getting your mom that new house, or she don't have to work no more, or that the sensation, that feeling, like, you know, you're turning that corner to your new house with your gate, your initials on that gate, on the mansion or whatever car, whatever you're like visualizing. Like sometimes what I've heard, and it makes sense to me, like you're kind of chasing the sensation, you're chasing that feeling, like the fulfillment in that moment of you reaching that goal, and you actually physically having it and seeing it, like what it brings into your body, the emotions that go. Like sometimes you're chasing goals. Obviously you have like an image of what you want, but the sensation, like getting it, you actually feeling it and seeing it for yourself, is what really like manifests, like helps you manifest, you know, your goals, and actually seeing it through, which is like a beautiful thing too. I was realizing, like how you were just saying, like you visualizing you being in that moment, like that, you know, that game saving, touchdown saving tackle, you know, right, but not giving that person the first, it's 4th down, 4th and 1, and you stop them right there, like before the line of scrimmage, or like that feeling of like, you know, you just carried the team, or you just won the game, like that feeling, that sensation is like kind of what drives you, like to get that emotion, like you want that feeling.
I even do that for lifting too. Like when I'm trying to get a PR, like I'll envision like me hitting it, or like screaming or whatever, like, and it's just kind of crazy. Like I never I didn't think about it or really like know what I was doing until someone had brought it up. I think I had a sociology teacher like tell me something about like, oh yeah, you should manifest, like, you know, what you're gonna do on the field. You should just try to meditate and just think about all the things. And I was just telling her like, oh, I already do that. Like, I didn't know it was just called manifesting it, and like, and all that stuff. I learned about that stuff as time went on, but I was already doing that stuff without even knowing, you know? So, and I'm sure you do it like when you're thinking about like, you know, the house that you want to get. You're visualizing what house you want to get, how you want the structure of your family to be once you have your house, your kids, once you're married, and all that stuff, you know?
Right.
So I think that a lot of positive can come from doing that, you know?
Man, you know what's one thing that you're thankful for that isn't, now I don't want to say cliche, because you might be thankful or whatever it is, but what's one thing that you're thankful for that you don't really hear about that people are thankful for?
Something I'm really thankful for I don't hear about, I would say, you know, it might sound cliche, but you know, my not only my parents, but just growing up in this area, you know, the Manteca area, and you know, going the route I went. I'm thankful for all the L's I took. 'Cause I took a crazy amount of L's in my life. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, in all facets, you know, whether if it's, you know, in sports, life in general, you know, relationships, whatever, like all of my L's, like I'm just thankful for everything, and I wouldn't change a single thing. You know, like I said earlier, those decisions that you make, how you come out of the situation, whether good or bad, or whether win or loss, like it changes you, you know, right? Like you get better or worse, like point blank period. And you know, I'm just thankful for, you know, my upbringing, the place I grew up, and you know, the losses for real.
Yeah, and that's like sometimes some of the things that people don't cherish is like the losses, the failures. For me, like I it's weird, but I love when I'm in like a mental state where it's challenging. Like if I'm either working through a project, or if I'm at work working through a conflict situation with an associate that, you know, we're having a miscommunication, or, you know, something was said that was problematic. Like I love being in those pressured like moments, or like times that are, you know, very challenging. Like you get to work through the process and try to figure your way out of like survival, because you're kind of like trying to like survive your way out of a situation, and like working through like your thought processes and how you react and how you handle things. Like for me, I always like look inward, like how I could have handled something better, or how I could have maybe, you know, looked at a different perspective, or hearing the other person out before instantly judging or trying to correct them or try to push my morale onto somebody. Like I love those moments where you don't know where it's gonna go. Like you're in a situation where like you haven't been in. I like being in situations where I haven't been in before. Like I want to push myself, which is a double sword, you know, because sometimes it could be stressful. But I believe like there's a certain amount of stress you do need in your life. You need, you know, physical stress, mental stress. You need some type of challenging, you know, rewarding life, because even at times of darkness, like you always come up out of it. Not everyone, unfortunately, but you know, for the greater majority, a lot of times when things or situations seem like this is the end of the world, like sometimes a breakup will do that to somebody, where like, you know, my life is over, like I don't want to live. I've seen people like, you know, not want to live no more because they don't have that other person, or just taking the heartbreak very, very to the heart, which is, you know, by all means, it's not wrong. Like you should feel how you feel. You know, who am I to tell you, you know, you shouldn't feel like that? Even if I say, oh, I wouldn't feel like that, or if I was in his or her situation, I wouldn't even handle it like that. Like you're not that person, and that person's gonna handle things different than you are. So it's like, who are you to judge them? Because you guys have different upbringings. That's one of the beautiful things I love about, you know, challenging moments, because that's what makes you like that foundation. Like it does make you, you know, kind of build your character.
Facts. No, that's facts. You preaching, bro. You preaching. No, I feel everything you saying, bro. For real. Yo, I don't know why. But I keep hearing it, bro. I kid you not, bro. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm really trying, bro.
I think every time I look at you, I see like a smirk, and I'm like,
bro,
he wants to fucking laugh.
I'm trying to stay so like serious and professional, bro, and composed, bro. And oh god.
And this whole time too, I wanted not to cuss, and I've been cussing.
Oh damn! I didn't even notice.
I wasn't trying. You know what I mean? Because if I was trying, I would have done it. But I kind of just said, "Fuck it." At least for this one.
Said, "God damn it!"
I want to make it suitable for people, because you know some people don't like cussing. And like, I respect, you know, other people's views and opinions, but at the same time, I'm fucking human, so I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna do some shit that you probably don't like, you know, or I'm gonna say some things that'll probably rub you the wrong way. But I do have my own intentions, and my intentions comes from a kind love and trying to be open and understand. But sometimes it comes off as, I even like my family or my lady sometimes tells me I come off as an asshole at certain times, because sometimes I get caught in pushing my morale on people. Like, no, you're doing something that's going to put you in a situation, or your thoughts are going to, you know, if you're thinking like this, you're also, you know, subconsciously making a decision of thinking like this with your choices. So, so I'm always like, you know, doing that, but sometimes I have to like, you know, peel it back, because nobody wants to get lectured, or nobody wants to feel like they're in the wrong, or they're doing something wrong for being themselves or feeling their emotions. So sometimes you have to let them feel and learn for themselves, and just observe. Like if they need help, they'll ask you a question. If not, you know, sometimes you don't need us. Sometimes it's good enough to talk. You can just listen. And that's sometimes I have to like learn that throughout the damn day, every day.
But we're growing. You know, it's a growing experience. You know, with time, you know, you'll kind of be able to like feel and read the room. And with the cussing thing, you know, for us, like we're growing as, you know, businessmen. We're growing, you know, as young men, you know. So, you know, obviously with time we want to get better with our speech, and you know, obviously be able to bring content to you guys like that's gonna be as comfortable as possible, and can reach a wide variety of people. You know what I mean? Because, you know, like we were talking about the other day, you know, the cussing might, you know, cut out a certain age group just because of the cussing, or something like that. But I want us to be ourselves still.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like if you want to express yourself and you're like,
that's why I don't feel bad.
You say, damn, like, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's a learning experience.
You know what, man? So randomly, but I just thought about it. You know, what's one thing that you feel from your experience and from what you heard and from what you've seen from others is one thing that men can do better in relationships?
I think one thing that men can do better in relationships is probably, I would say, don't assume as much. From my experience, don't assume as much. You know, be yourself. You know, communicate. You know, communicate and not be bottled up by things. Like, don't hold everything in, and then one day when y'all get in an argument, you just blow up and you know, kind of like spew out everything, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, just be a human being and experience that person for them. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I get it. Like, you know, some things might bother you, and that's you know okay between your relationships with your spouse or whatever. But
right.
You know, experience that person. You know, and you know, be real with yourself. Be real with them. Don't lead nobody on that you're genuinely not interested in, or you know, sugarcoating shit when something's really bothering you or anything in that nature. Like, just be real at the end of the day and experience that person for them. That's the best advice I can give you.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I said, what about you?
I was thinking, like, kind of like what you were saying, like, don't assume.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get caught up in what you did in your past relationships or what you see not working other people. Like, I think it's always good to take note and, like, kind of, like, retrospect, look at what you've done in the past, and you have to learn from it, especially times of because sometimes, like, we don't listen to, like, you know, your man or your lady when they're expressing themselves. Like, sometimes I've been in moments where I'll be like, oh no, you're wrong, that's not why I did this, or that's not my intentions. And sometimes, you know, I try to listen more, like try to listen to how they feel. Because if I'm trying to get my message across and my message keeps coming off, you know, not the way I want it to, because my intentions are this, but she is seeing this, there's something that I'm doing. It's not that she's not listening, like, maybe, but I feel like there's a way that I'm not articulating it to her that's putting me in position to then create my message in a better, more digestible way for her to then accept and see where I'm coming from. Like, if you're in a situation that your, like, significant other does something that bothered you, if you just hold it in, like how you were saying, and don't say nothing, but you don't even look at her, and you kind of give her the cold shoulder, and, you know, like, you're doing that on purpose, and she's gonna feel that energy, that what you're doing, and she asks what's wrong, and you say nothing. Like, you putting yourself in, like, a terrible position, like, for yourself, really, and for the person that you're with, when you can have a good time, but now you put yourself in a problematic situation. But honesty and communication is so huge, which is always the thing, right? Like, communication. There's always, like, a lot of miscommunication all the time in relationships or at work or anywhere you're really at. A lot of problems happen because there's miscommunication. And sometimes you have to really look inward and see that, you know, sometimes you're not always right. Like, you make mistakes, and I think sometimes we also get too comfortable with our, like, significant other, that sometimes you almost, in a way, without saying it, like, you do lose respect, because, like, the longer you are with somebody, or you get comfortable, sometimes some people seem to, like, not validate their feelings as much, or some people, you know, like, become, like, narcissistic, and, like, it's my way or the highway, which is something, like, you don't want to do. You know, you guys are supposed to be in a partnership, like, experience each other. You don't own each other. You shouldn't be looking at each other's phones. I believe, like, if you do not trust that person, you should not be with them. Like you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. You can find someone else that you could build a relationship with, built off trust. I feel like if there's no trust there, like you're legit wasting your time, and you can be in a more happier state of mind.
And it might not even someone might not trust their spouse because something they've experienced or they've never healed from something. It has nothing to do with like the person they're with. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, I can't. I gotta look different. It gotta be something because maybe they're doing dirt behind their, so they can't trust that other person. It's just like a childish game. It's so.
I've seen times in people like, oh, I'm gonna cheat before she do, or like, I'm gonna just, like I've seen and heard people do that. Like, oh, I'm gonna, cheat because what if she's cheating? Like, she's probably cheating, or like you already like why are you with that person? Like, I've been in situations like that too, where it's like, oh man, you're over here, doing these things behind somebody's back, and assuming and like thinking that they're doing something wrong, but in reality they could be doing nothing at all. And here you are, because of your insecurities, doing something that's potentially not good towards a person that you supposedly love or you're with, like your relationship. It's kind of like, that's one thing I learned from, my own experience is really taking the time to listen, communicate. If you feel a certain way, something bothers you, let them know. Nothing's wrong with letting them know it's bothering you, but you have to be very careful on how you say it. Like if he or she does something wrong to you, not wrong to you, but they do something unintentionally that bothered you, instead of holding it in, you have a conversation with them, like said, like, when the time comes, whenever you feel comfortable, let them know, hey, I might sound crazy, but when you did this or when you said this, I felt like this. Am I wrong for that? And then you'll be surprised. Like most of the time, some people that are your person will tell you, no, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, it might look like that way, but it's not. Like, this was my intention. This is what I was thinking when I was doing this. It's never to hurt you. Like, when you have like that dialogue of, letting them know what bothered you, like, you could build a strong foundation in a relationship, and you guys can, develop a partnership that's, it's going to be, not everything's going to be perfect. You guys are both experiencing each other, knowing each other, knowing what triggers or, what traumas they have that bothers them emotionally, insecurities. It's like, it's good to be open and conversate about those things so you guys can work through the problems at that moment, instead of letting it build up later and you start assuming and you start, doing things based off of a thought or from what you've seen that maybe isn't really reality or what's the other person's intention was.
That's facts. Jesus, you spitting all the game. What's something that that has worked for you, in your recent relationship? What's something that has stuck out the most and has been the best thing for you and your girl?
I would say there's a few, but to start with this, I would say I think loving the person for who they are, not from what you want them to be. Like, loving them for, who they uniquely are, because every person is their own person, their own human being, and they have things that they like, that they don't like, music that they're open to, and like being able to accept people for who they are. Like, that's what helped me is, and also, if you want to be with that person, like, if you want to be with this person, you have to accept for who they are and where they are currently. Like, they're still growing, not depending on who you're with. I mean, we're all growing depending on how you pick your relationships. Like, you want to be with somebody that you accept them for who they are. You like, I wouldn't base off of potential. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't just, I see this person could be this for me or whatever. I think you want to accept them for who they are and also nourish that relationship to then, you know, build it how you would envision you guys to be. Like, that's the thing that helped me with my relationship right now, was learning from what I did wrong in my last relationship. Because my last relationship, a lot of it was on me. Like, for myself, I take accountability on all the things that I did, because I felt like I could have done things way more better. I could have been way more upfront about my emotions, my vulnerabilities. I could have let go of a lot of small things that became big because I didn't speak up. You know, I was in my head too much in a way where I wasn't, you know, attacking the problem from the root. I would just avoid it, or I would do other things that, you know, wouldn't really create that peace for me that could have in that relationship. Like, I just look back at the things and the outcomes, the way it went, and see what I gotta do to then not make sure that happens again. Like, take note of where I was at that time and not judge myself, but then realize that, you know what, because of that situation, I had to grow immediately, because I didn't like, you know, what I did to that person, or maybe how they felt, or how things ended. Because at the end of the day, you know, you had love for that person, you had cared for that person, and I feel that you want to, you know, represent that well on the way you communicate with them. So if it didn't work out the way you would want it to now, it's because at that time, you know, you had a lot of things going on. Like, don't be too hard on yourself, and learn from the things that didn't work out, and try to, you know, just be better next time for yourself. Because that's the one thing, is like accepting accountability for my insecurities and the way I handle things. But I would educate myself too, like The Way of the Superior Man, The 4 Agreements, The Mastery of Love. Like, those books, like, really did help me build a foundation and see through some of the things that I did in my past relationship that caused a lot of friction with that person, and see my faults of, okay, now I see why it worked out, or it went this way. Like, I wasn't communicating with that person. I wasn't being open. I wasn't being honest. I was too caring maybe for that person's feelings and not caring about my own. Like, I was putting too much energy in that person and expecting and assuming that they should do this for me. Like, that's one thing I learned too. And also, a little thing too is, like, if you see the dishes are dirty, clean the dishes. Don't ask her or text her like, hey, wash the dishes, or hey, how come you haven't washed the dishes? The dishes been like that, or the trash is still full. How come you haven't thrown the trash away? Or one thing is, like, lead by example. And that's one thing I have been doing lately. And sometimes I fall off of it, but a lot of times I'm very consistent. Is if I see a mess, or if I see something that I feel needs to be clean, or I want it to be clean, then I'll go do it my damn self. And let's say the person that you're with isn't really consistent with that. Like, they don't, maybe not the most proactive, or they don't, you know, feel the desire to do something. If they see you cleaning and, you know, washing the dishes, cooking food and stuff like that, that motivates, like, your significant other to then want to, like, you know what, like, he does all this, or she does all this for me. It's like, shit, you know what, like, I gotta, you know, send that love back. Like, and that's the one thing I've been learning too, is just, like, do things with love. Like, do things with love. Like, really cherish that person, accept them for who they are, because then guess what? That energy comes back to you. Yeah, so it's like, if you move off insecurity and anger and miscommunication, of course your significant other is going to do the same shit to you. Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, you're a reflection. Like, you're a light. Sometimes we have smoke in that mirror that, you know, sometimes that blocks that light from love and being able to be open and communicate for, like, a healthy relationship. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you guys outgrow each other, different phases in your life, and that's fine. But at the same time, you want to communicate that. Sometimes people will be in relationships for years when that relationship should have ended the second day that y'all were together.
Damn, that's real. That's real. But something that you said that really stuck with me is, like, when you're talking about taking accountability, that speaks volumes to you as a man. Because it's easy to sit there and be like, she did this to me. She did that. So she wasn't communicating. I acted like this because she did that. No, you sat back and you evaluated yourself, evaluated your own decisions, and was like, you know, I take full accountability for the decisions that I made. And I feel like the same thing for me. I didn't make progress until I sat back and really looked at the mistakes that I made or the things that I was doing, whether if it's in relationships or in any aspect that I feel like that wasn't right, you know. And once you sit back and you change those things, I feel like it evolves you in a very accelerated way, right? So pointing the finger is just it's just harming you at the end of the day.
It does, yeah. It does way more harm to you than it does that person.
Because you're just staying the same. You're not gonna change.
Definitely not, too. And like that's the one thing I had to do, right? Was like I took full accountability for every single damn thing. I don't no blame to that person or my last relationships. Like that's one thing I learned was like don't put nothing towards them because you know they are who they were at that moment, at that time when you guys were together, when things didn't work out or whatever. It's like they're a human being too. Like they did what was best for them. They made those decisions that it's up to them to how they feel about it. Like I could feel a way about a certain decision that someone else made, but to be honest, who gives a fuck about my view on what you did? Like if you felt good or you felt like, you know what, you messed up, then you felt that and you take accountability for that. But I'm not, you know, no way, shape, or form the person to judge you because I did some shit too, and not that makes you know two wrongs make a right, but at the same time you gotta accept accountability of, you know, I pushed you. I did maybe push you towards that direction of doing something that I felt was not okay. Like I take full accountability to that because it makes me more at peace. And exactly what you said too, like. I look at everything like that, like everything, not like everything's my fault, but I have a way to manifest and to put myself in the best position possible where I could get the greatest outcome in a positive way. And sometimes it don't work like that, and that's okay, but I'll keep, and my growth accelerated huge when I started taking accountability. There's a great book from Jocko Willink called Extreme Ownership. Like I encourage like people to read that too. It's like about discipline and accepting accountability, accepting the ownership, because selfishly I do that because it accelerates my growth at a crazy speed that, you know, like, and me and you have gotten to conversations with other people, and I've had conversations where people that are older than me or maybe my age would tell me that for me to be hearing this from somebody who's 26 or 21 or 22 at that time is ridiculous, because it's people that are my age, which is like 35, 40, that don't even think the way you do, and you're half their age. And that's one thing too you learn too, like age don't mean shit, because somebody could be 40 still having a sophomore mind in high school, which is crazy. No judge to them, but like I wouldn't want that for myself.
Yeah, facts. And you're 100% right. It could be a 21-year-old that moves like a man and a 39-year-old that moves like a boy. So at the end of the day, like that doesn't mean shit. You know, that age doesn't mean shit. That's just a number. So, but you know, I really appreciate you opening up during this, you know, this whole episode. And you know, I feel like we talked about some good shit. Most definitely can be something that can motivate, and you know, if they aren't already in that mindset, maybe, you know, look into the books that you talked about, or the ways that you approach things, or the way that we analyze when, you know, we're in certain situations or perspectives. And but yeah, I feel like we definitely talked about some good stuff in this episode, man.
How do you feel about the 4 agreements?
The 4 agreements, I like it so far. So I didn't get to the first agreement yet. I just read the first parts, but just learning the way of the Twi'lek, like, and reading, I only read a little bit of it when I was on my plane, but it's actually pretty crazy. It's like, I kind of like thought of it like as in like not a religious book, I would say, no, but no, it's pretty cool. I really want to get to the first agreement, because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's a lot of gems in that book. I just want to dive into it already. I really want to get to the one you said, I think it's the second agreement, like never assume.
Yeah.
I really want to read that one, but you know, I'm going to read it straight through. And but no, I didn't get to the first agreement yet.
Yeah, it's when you read that book, man, it's a whole lot of gems in there. A whole lot of different perspectives that make your eyes just open, and it makes you like, the best way that people explain that book is like, because some people, like, I read that book and I was like, holy shit, that's me, or I was connecting a lot of dots. And Don Miguel Ruiz says that, of course it makes sense to you because it's integrity talking to integrity. So it's like, oh, when you think about that and you really like digest that, integrity talking to integrity is really, you know, the truth hearing truth. Like, you're literally hearing, connecting, and it just connects all the dots, and it just makes total sense. It's kind of like when you read it, you're like, you feel stupid because you're like, how the fuck did I not know this? How did I not learn from this? Like, when you read that book, you start connecting all these dots, and you start kind of like solving the puzzles, and, you know, like barriers that you,
like getting the smoke out the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. That smoke out the mirror. And I love that like thought. And that's my goal too, is like to be like that light for people. That was always my goal, because at times when I really needed it, I never had that. So being, you know, open and, you know, pushing people to be positive and, you know, make them think a different way that's from the outside norm of complainers all day. Like, you can be, there's a whole lot of good shit going on in the world than there is bad, but we get caught up in those little, like, those headline, you know, thumbnail, like the world's gonna end, or like COVID, all these like negative, you know, media sources that are pushing this like negative like stigma around a lot of things. Sometimes, you know, messes your head up. And I feel like my goal is like to try to like inspire and motivate people to see the better. And I'm a regular human too, you know. I go through my things, and I have my certain books or people that I listen to help me during those moments. And meditation, like I meditate every day lately, just to keep me at ease, keep me at comfortable. And that's what keeps me at peace. Because no matter what's going on in my day, I'm happy. Even with like depression or going through all that stuff, I'm still happy at the end of the day, because I get to work through it. Like, even when the times get tough and like my thoughts, or I'm getting anxiety or a panic attack, after I come out of that, like, I just feel so refreshed, because I feel like, you know, I'm still alive, and I get to work through my emotions and these thoughts that are still maybe might be bothering me till this day, because I'm still working through, you know, old traumas, or maybe thoughts that I've been avoiding and working through, and, you know, measuring myself. Like, I measure myself off. I don't like to judge people at all, but one thing you could judge is like, you know, progress.
Yeah, facts.
And that's why I'm like content with myself, because I've had my own battles just like everybody else does. And to see me, you know, be at this state from being at dark times, and, you know, from being in those dark times to like being here at this moment, like coming out of it, is like all I needed to realize that I have all the confidence in the world to learn and do anything and be who the hell I want without fearing the judge of anybody.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck. Like, and the main thing is like, you gotta give a fuck about yourself though.
Yeah,
like,
facts.
care about yourself, love yourself. Like, if you don't love yourself, you'll never you can't love nobody. So like, take care of you.
Facts. And in that same sense, like, you know, going back to the manifestation, do you envision, like, because, you know, back then when you're in those dark times, envisioning yourself now, did you have that vision of like, okay, this is how I want to be? Or did over time it just kind of like, you look back and you're like, dang, like, that's where I was, this is where I am, it's 10 times better? Do you envision like right now, like where you'll be 2 years from now, and be like, dang, I wonder what mental space where I would be, what financial space I will be, you know? Do you ever think of stuff like that?
For sure, man. Like, especially at those dark moments, I'm just so focused on like trying to survive, because I have my thoughts, or I'm anxious, you know, and so I have to do certain things and meditate. But even during those times and those thoughts, a day after, maybe I just, you know, my anxiety went down, but I'm still working through myself. I'm just thankful, like, you know what, like, because I'm doing good. You know, I have my investments are going good. My relationship is, you know, is blooming, and it's only getting better, and we're working through things like all couples, and trying to learn each other and be the best partners that we can be to each other. And then my family, like, I just look at the good, that, you know what, I might be in this dark moment right now, but I know tomorrow's a new day. I get to, you know, restart. I get to, you know, if God gives me that day, I get to work on myself and better myself. And, you know, there's always, you know, light at the end of the tunnel. And I do believe that you have to have that faith, whether in religion, yourself, or whatever. Like, having faith is huge. Like, having faith is what got me by, knowing that, you know what, it's not going to be like this forever. It might be like this for right now. What was that quote? Like, pain is temporary, but losing is forever or something like that.
Yeah. Pain is temporary. Quitting or pain is temporary, but
quitting is forever.
Is it quitting
is forever, I believe. And that's kind of like the way I think too. Is like pain, like whenever I'm going through something, I know to myself in my gut, like I have faith that this isn't going to be forever. It's just at this moment. But if I quit, or if I just throw in the towel, or I dig into those thoughts, it only gets worse. So it's kind of like, you know what, I just gonna not quit. Like I have faith that I'm gonna see the light and I'm gonna be okay. But sometimes I have to remind myself, like, I'm okay and I'm safe at this very moment, and to also remind myself of the things that I'm so grateful for.
Oh, facts. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for episode 4. I appreciate you guys all for tapping in with us. You guys are going crazy on our YouTube. You guys are liking up all of our content. I thank you so much. Me and Juan are so grateful to have you guys and the support that we have behind us. So we really do appreciate you. And then we'll see you guys on the next episode of Self Revelations.
Sheesh.